Borough Council, Stuart Richard are finally here to help us out. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough councillors to hold meetings until they stepped in. Part of the meeting of tonight, as you've probably seen, is to elect new members. Yep. So I'll move to start the meeting. Right, item 1, apologies for absences. We've had none of that. Item 2, appointment of the Vice Chairman. Noted that this is until May's elections.
Have we got any nomination? Have you had any nomination? David?
No one else is there?
No.
Unless Richard wants to do it.
I don't think so, because I think if you call tonight, we finish, so it's not right.
No, your appointment is until May 2023 or until co-options are in place to the councillors' quorate, whichever is the later.
Right.
So actually,
okay.
you'll stay appointed till May.
Okay, right. Well, I still think it should be a local person, so I'm happy to nominate David if he wants to do it.
Wait a second.
Deja vu.
You're happy to stand, David?
Yeah, thank you, David.
You need to take a vote on it. All those in favour, please?
Yes, that's left-hand side.
Right, item 3, declaration of interest. I shouldn't imagine there is any for tonight's agenda, is there? Right, so I'll now move to pause the parish session until we have public participation. Well, it's quite a busy night tonight, so I'm really quite strict with the 15-minute allowance. So if anyone likes to speak tonight, I'd like to show of hands. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Can I just pass these around? I'm trying to be as succinct as I possibly can. So I'll take each of them. So I'm here on behalf of tonight myself and Yvonne are here tonight in relation to a recent application for planning, we live on Main Street at the old site of the old memorial for the Miners Institute. If any of you know those, it's the row of 3 new builds.
Can I just stop you for a moment? This isn't on the agenda, Chairman. Are you happy to carry on with this?
Yeah, keep it brief.
Okay. So we live at 122, 124 and the planning applications come from our neighbour at 126. The documents you have here are the notification originally the notification didn't come to us initially with regard to this planning, so we were unaware of it. It was only through bumping into a neighbour who by chance had some information that we found out about it. So that was number one. We're not happy about that, we knew nothing about it, and we would potentially have no time to lodge any objections to Hinckley Bosworth Council had we not actually found the information. The application is for 2 constructions at the rear of the properties. Now we share a shared driveway, and we actually share the roof as well. We're all adjoined through an archway. The proposal is for a roof dormer, which in your document you'll see in the plans is quite a large extension, which will actually take up literally the roof of 126.
It's the whole roof, it's not just the dormer that protrudes. It's like up and across the whole.
So it's a very large extension which will actually look directly onto the garden of Yvonne. On the plans they talk about an assumed boundary. We have to say the reality of that boundary is not actually correct. So the boundary, rather than being straight, is actually at an angle, which means part of the dormer, a significant part of the dormer, will look directly down onto the garden of 124. So privacy is a huge issue, both for Yvonne and also looking at my garden and potentially 2 other neighbours as well, which to our knowledge have not been notified. Well, they've been notified through us, but not through the Bosworth Council.
The actual dormer is glass, so everything is visual straight through. It's not sort of bricked up and little windows. The whole thing is glass. So
it's a big structure. So privacy is one thing. Also, also, it's such a big structure, and it's, as we show the flat sort of roof line together, it's sort of quite odd to have this sort of sticking out on one end of the roof. And I'm not sure it's really in keeping with the aesthetic of the area or the character. It is in a conservation area, so we are quite concerned about the aesthetics of it, having just moved into the property, and we've recently bought these properties in the last year. It's a shame that suddenly the whole aesthetic and character is going to be changed. In addition to the dormer, the application is also for a garage to be built, which would be in the shared driveway, albeit in the allotted parking space of 126. It would impact very significantly on the parking arrangements for Yvonne. It's also a structure that's much higher than the existing fence line, so again, it's quite an imposing structure in such a small space.
That's an 8'6" pitched roof.
So again, aesthetically, it does have a big impact. As you can imagine, we are both opposed to it, but I think the reason why we're here tonight is really just to ensure that perhaps this is viewed by a committee, perhaps rather than an individual, because of the issues involved, and also a site visit, because I think from the plans, it doesn't really show you exactly what sort of space we're talking about and how it impacts in terms of the boundaries. I think we need to go on site to actually see that.
Yes, Chairman, just to say, the lady spoke to us, I came in, and as a borough council, I can call applications in and request site visits, which I've done for the lady.
Thank you very much. And following the email from yourself,
Yeah.
I contacted Hinckley Bosworth and explained the situation we've had here, the fact that we haven't been able to hold meetings, and they've extended the deadline 3 days after our next meeting.
Okay.
So on the return of our clerk from her absence, I'll try to get it onto the agenda of the next meeting. I'll let you know if it happens.
Right.
If you can attend or not, it doesn't matter. Either way, we will put in a formal response from the parish.
Fine, brilliant, thank you.
I've also copied in another borough councillor, Matthew Lane. He's like-minded with yourself as well.
Right, okay, thank you.
Good evening. My name's Simon. I hear the Ashby Road development has now been approved. Contracted with the villagers and the council and the county. Is there a plan now to appeal against this?
As far as I know, I don't think we can take it any further other than contacting.
The only thing left is to judicially review the decision of the planning inspectorate. If the planning inspectorate is not taking into any consideration. Obviously, the only bit that comes to Hinckley Bosworth really was the access. The rest of it's all in Charlton Borough, which Charlton approved the application. Hinckley Bosworth refused it, and the appeals on again. To be honest with you, which I did, that's it. It's game over, and we'll go ahead.
Well, I'm not sure if we can make representations about our own opinions, even raising with the
I know there's a few residents that have contacted Dr. Evans. Hopefully something might come of that.
Barry, I've contacted our MP and asked him if he would speak to the Secretary of State, because the Secretary of State can call it in and review it, but it needs basically Peter from the county to lobby the MP, our borough councillors to lobby the MP, and there's many local residents to lobby the MP to request him to ask Michael Gove to call it in and review it. That's the last place we can go. There's nowhere else we can go.
You're going to be raising this with the local media, like the TV or radio, raise the profile of this and get more attention?
And we stop doing it, why do we have to open up our land? Hinckley Bosworth, why they've got to break through Hinckley Bosworth's boundary to get to it. Why can't we say, no, you're not going through there? Make them go into another entrance.
The inspector just did not have any respect for that.
Did Hinckley Bosworth fight it for
He
it?
said that 93% of the site is in Charlwood Borough Council,
Yes,
who haven't got a 5-year housing supply.
yes.
Only 7% was in Hinckley and Bosworth.
The entrance in their area then, not ours. That might swell up and might have to think twice about building there. It's an easy way to break through our boundary, that wall and that pavement, and they're in. Say no. Why don't Hinckley Bosworth say no to that?
They did.
Let them, they'll find another entrance.
Sorry? I think it's fair to say they fought it as hard as they could.
Well, I don't know about that so well.
Sorry, was you waiting to say something?
Yes, as I say, in terms of the Borough Council Planning Committee refused it. So that is as far as the Borough Council can go. So essentially, your only line of progress from there would be a judicial review.
Or the Secretary of State covers it.
Yeah, potentially. I wouldn't hang your hat on that one, to be fair.
I've never, to be fair to people, being honest with you, in 20 years of being a Hinckley Bosworth Councillor, I have never known the Secretary of State recover a decision once the inspector has issued it. Never.
There's
I
no
won't say it was the first, I won't say it's the first, but I've never known it.
You made reference to the planners said the access didn't matter, but the Hinckley and Bosworth, when they refused permission, they said get legal opinion. The legal opinion was we could take into account the whole of the site, not just the access. So there's a conflict legally here.
Well, yeah, the legal opinion was on whether Hinckley and Bosworth could. Yeah, it was slightly complicated. Basically, the legal opinion enabled Hinckley and Bosworth to refuse the application, which he did. And then the Secretary of State has allowed that on appeal, or his inspector. The inspector's allowed it on appeal.
Yes, just this will be the application that was mentioned earlier. I have looked at it online and I have made comments. I think it's particularly in relation to the garage. When that application originally came in, I always thought the parking arrangements at the back were somewhat problematic because there's a very limited manoeuvring space. And it really requires cars to be parked very accurately. Now, at the moment, these are 3 bedrooms, 3 or 4 bedroom houses, aren't they? And they are at nowhere near full occupancy. There's no families, teenagers, etc. living there. So anything that restricts parking, which is already very restricted, should you get a change of occupancy, will make it very problematic as to whether the parking can function, let alone overspill onto Main Street.
Because I will be in between a garage, a wooden garage, and a brick wall. My parking space will be there. So it's no manoeuvre at all. Whereas now, there's not a garage, just a car. And if the car's not there, I can sort of manoeuvre into my neighbour's space and get out. But if it's 2 solids each side, it will be very difficult. Especially for the
I will do an absolute best to get on to
Thank you.
the agenda
Yes.
the next meeting.
Yeah.
We'll look into it a bit deeper.
Thank you very much, yeah. Thank you.
Building on Forest Road there. So that's in group, the houses will be in group in council then? Or, so would they go to group school then, or would they be using our school in Oxford?
What, the Ashby Road?
Yeah, that's Road,
Yeah, the 106 money is that it was going to go to Groovy and Newtown Linford. It's actually Newtown Linford Parish Council. I made representation to Peter and County Hall to say that the 106 money should go to Markfield because that's where the kids will go to school basically.
Yeah.
And they changed that at Charnwood. Hinckley and Bosworth made the same representation. So the 106 money will come to Markfield, yeah.
Yeah, just to reiterate, sorry, Chair, if I come through, if that's possible. Yeah, that was corrected. So when the initial 106 statement came out, I think as David said, they misallocated it because of the fact that the applications in Charnwood. But picked up, it's been corrected, so the money's been allocated correctly.
Right, anyone? Yes?
Could I just ask about this 106 money? I don't know a lot about these things, but my understanding is that that 106 money doesn't actually come to Markfield, it goes to Hinckley and Bosworth to decide.
It's on various things.
Okay, as representatives of the patient participation group in Markfield, obviously these are things that we've talked about in the past, and I think that was something that we were led to believe. So it's good to have clarification, so we all understand that.
Yeah, if we can, Chair. So Hinckley and Bosworth will administer where the money goes, but they don't actually make the decisions. That's all defined in the actual Section 106 agreement.
Yeah.
So that should be on the planning board, which should be under Chartered.
So would we be able to get to see that then? Where, what they're allocating it for?
There should be, the planning document should be
It's on
available.
the planning portal, which is open to anybody to see.
I would imagine the parish council will get a copy of that at some stage.
Right. I'll move to close the public session. Right, to confirm the minutes of the extraordinary meeting held on the 17th of January. It's 1.
The other members of council to accept those over here. Okay, we're happy to propose.
Yeah, I propose we accept the minutes.
Okay, is everybody happy to vote?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we'd like to sign those. We initial each page and then sign the last one, please.
Right, on to item 6, to consider the applications for co-option to the current vacancies. There are now currently 5 seats and 7 applications. I will now hand over to John as capable of hands for this very complicated process.
Well, the first part is actually straightforward. If the council wishes any of the applicants to address council, that can be done. Conscious that some of the members of council this evening will only have just seen the application paperwork, so they might need a moment to go through that. And then, if council wishes the applicants to say anything, you've also got a choice of whether you want to ask any questions. And my only comments would be that, as in a job interview, you've really got to make them as fair as possible for all candidates. So, but it's up to you how you generate this. I can talk about how voting is done in a moment.
So being as somebody's
I'm actually happy to withdraw my application. It makes life easier for you.
What's your name, sir?
Richard Burton.
It's entirely up to you.
And I'll withdraw mine as well, just to cause no disruption, makes life a bit easier.
And you have it?
For now, Madeline Burrows.
Chairman, I don't know what you think, Chairman, but I think willing volunteers are better than pressed men. I'm happy to move all the applications.
Second.
It is debatable, but yeah, I agree.
Sorry, I missed that.
I said it's debatable, but I do agree.
Only because these you've got to stay until May, haven't you? So.
No, so the applications that go on.
Oh, okay.
Could you not resign tonight and two vacancies?
There probably will be 2 either before or maybe just after May.
We thought that was what that's what we were instructed by Julie Kennedy, that's what would happen once there was enough co-ops to do.
that's kind of our impression as
Our
well.
impression too. But apart from that,
Could you just clarify when that changed then, please? Could you clarify when the direction changed? Because I've got communication from Julie Kennedy that says that if there are enough co-ops to fill the seats, then the two gentlemen from Hinckley Bosworth withdraw. So I'm a little bit confused, to be honest.
Sorry, I will be back to you. It's not a question I can answer.
My interpretation is as it is.
Yeah, if I was pass that to the gentleman time to read off.
Yeah, well, so the order is the following persons are appointed to act as parish councillors for the parish council until the first meeting of the Markfield Parish Council after the 4th of May 2023, or until a sufficient number of elected councillors for Markfield Parish Council have taken office, whichever shall be later, is the wording. This is what Hinckley Bosworth put out as the order from the meeting last week.
So our mistake, we should have gone for earlier, not later, but there we go.
can I just say, from my point of view, I'm here tonight purely and simply, not because I have a great desire to be a Markfield Parish Council. I've got enough residents representing my ruling Hinckley. I'm here tonight to make sure that you can carry out the business of the Parish Council and make sure you function. I am perfectly happy, as soon as my job is done, and leave you to resign and vacate the seat. I'm happy to stay until May. I'm happy to go earlier if the council thinks it's helpful.
Can I suggest that given that the order has been given, that we keep it as it is for the moment? Obviously then if we take advantage of the officer as to what happens then, if other members are co-opted this evening, then Markfield will be in a position to move forward, and your position can either be continued or relieved as required. I think we need that discussion with the auditors in Hinckley this week to see where we go. If you're happy with that.
I'd just like to say, gentlemen, that once again the optics of this council are terrible.
It's not public participation anymore. I don't want to listen to you about it. I want to get through this meeting. Thank you.
Could I ask who did not put the name
Sorry,
forward?
I just said it's not public participation anymore.
I want to know who put forward to join the council.
Well,
I live in the village, I want to know who's on the council.
the rest of the meeting and that'll come apparent.
Because we were non-quorate, it went to Hinckley Bosworth Borough Council, who had to nominate two.
Yeah, no, but we've got enough people volunteered, haven't you now?
Until May.
Do you want to check that the other applicants, two have indicated that they wish to withdraw, but they may wish to take that back again. Do you wish to check that the others actually want to go forward at this point? And then council can actually have a look at how many nominations there are and decide from there.
Yeah. So confirmation, Mrs. Burrows, you definitely retracted.
I'm withdrawing until I know that, I can step forward.
Okay.
What's happening? What is happening? I feel like we've been misled again.
You've withdrawn, haven't you, Richard? Have you withdrawn?
On the basis that co-ops were going to occur today. What was the question?
I don't think there's a question about that.
I'm replying to Councillor Spacey. But if you don't want me to, that's absolutely fine, no problem.
We just need confirmation whether you're retracting your application or if you want to progress.
At this moment, I'll sit on the fence.
That doesn't.
Because I don't know what's happening. Are these gentlemen here till after the May election?
As things stand now, yes.
Are the remaining positions going to be filled?
Yes.
Right. That was very, to me, not obvious. I don't know about anybody else.
So, are you retracting your application?
I'm withdrawing my application.
That makes it easy.
Pardon? What was that? Was that
Can you stop shouting out that, please?
Do you want to check with the other the other nominations they want to go ahead?
Yeah, is Miss Norris here tonight? I'd like to be. Miss Ambery Bird, I don't think it's in tonight.
Could you name the 5 or 7 people that you've got?
That's what I was just doing.
So can I just clarify the co-option? Do the people need to be here to be co-opted?
Yes.
But it shows some enthusiasm, you're very interested in the village.
We have the co-option paperwork here. That
Mr.
you
Singh.
need to be there in person
Are you
to be
continuing your
co-opted.
application? Mrs. Harris, are you continuing with your application?
Yes, I am.
Mr. Taylor, are you continuing with your application?
Yes.
Yeah, and if you put yours back in, surely you've got a consensus.
Before chaos completely takes over. How can you resist co-opting 2 people that have took the trouble to turn up in favour of people that aren't here? Why is it that when people in the past haven't turned up, they've been disregarded straight away? By a president set by this parish council. And I refer you back to the September meeting when myself and one other were up for co-option on the night. And you were on the council at that time, and so were you, Mrs. Browning, and it was decided on that night that the person who didn't turn up was disregarded. So why, when that president is set, do you then...
Well, it wasn't a president set, it was a decision on that night, and we made our decision on the applications tonight.
If these 2 applications go back in, just explain what the voting process will be on.
I can't, no.
Okay, can I time and explain what the process will be? If it did go through, if we had these 2 applicants go back in, what would be the process for voting?
The process, if it goes to, as it stands, we have 5 nominations because 2 have been withdrawn from 7 for 5 seats. So there is no vote as such to be taken at this point. If we go back to 6 or 7, then the members of the council who are here this evening will be asked to have a vote on those who to return. What actually has to happen is that each individual seat has to be voted on separately, and each successful applicant, so whoever is actually appointed each time, will have to have an absolute majority. So it's not just a straightforward getting more than another council or another candidate, sorry. They actually have to have 50% plus 1 of the total votes cast, which means that with 7 going for 5 seats, it becomes really quite complicated. And what you end up doing is having a series of votes, and the first ones would be to eliminate applicants to narrow it down.
Which is why myself and Mr. Bird was trying to take the pressure off to
that's fine.
However, when you mentioned 2 other people that aren't here, it seems a bit silly, we might as well stick ours back in.
I mean,
We're showing already and winning.
I think just gentlemen are quite willing to step down and let the locals come in.
Plot 3 will resign, and then you can call them else.
Yeah, well said.
Well said.
Micromanaging and steering the group.
Applicant's proposal,
Point two, it needs to resign and then the work.
Yes, exactly.
if that's a proposal, then obviously you need to vote on it if that's how you...
And you've got 10 Markfield residents.
What's the advice from the returning officer?
My advice is that you need to go with what council feels is best, but you've also got to reflect the wishes of residents that are...
With regard to the order from Hinckley and Bosworth.
As regards to the order, then I would need to go back to Hinckley and Bosworth and say this is the wording that we've got. So, as it is given, these two gentlemen have stepped in to assist. I would rather hold on to those for the time being until we know we've got definite guidance.
So they're not allowed to resign?
But how come then, John, from your own very words, in a conversation with me, you have said on more than one occasion, what we need at Markfield, to use your term, not mine, is bums on seats. Julie Kenny, the monitoring officer, has made the same declaration in an email to me. These two gentlemen are prepared to resign tonight to allow the residents of Markfield to take those positions to do what the parish want, and that is for people to step up and support the parish council. And you are resisting that from happening.
And if the residents don't want that, they've got an option
Let's
of voting
not
no.
forget that we're only a couple of meetings away from the election.
It doesn't matter when it is. It doesn't matter when it is.
Work to be done.
There's a lot of work to be done.
Hemorrhaging money.
So the people that are here, if they go on, and these gentlemen go in May, will the other two people be able to step in their places?
No, in May it's an election.
In May, everyone wants to put some name forward for an election.
So basically it's two meetings, so it's worth all the ones in that are here, the person that's come out in the cold tonight, but I think it's worth putting the people in that are out.
Yes.
Can I just ask you another question?
Yeah.
If Richard and Stuart resign and step down, we are then non-quorum.
At this point,
Do you need their skills? Does their skills help this
To use the phrase, you need our bottoms on the seats to make the council work.
My personal point of view is we guaranteed these two people to be here. We guaranteed these three people to be here, so we're guaranteed to be quorate.
But I've been watching the meetings, we can guarantee these people have been here, haven't we, since?
Well, yeah, but Mr Taylor joined the council last year and quit within weeks.
Well, no, we're going forward, we're not going back. There's no tic-tac.
That's a valid point though. As things stand, we're guaranteed to be quorate and be out on the meetings.
Chairman, can I suggest that we have a 5-minute recess and I'll go and speak to Julie Kenny and see if we're...
Good, right. Let them get some ideas together. Fees next.
That's what he's doing.
So Richard and Matthew,
Anne-Marie Bird. Anne-Marie She's before she get on the phone with Rose. That should have gone into the plan. It was asked before.
We put it in, but then we said because it will make things complicated, but we're trying to make it easier. That was the range.
Just clarifying Anne-Marie.
Yes. Yeah, these ladies ladies were with her when she put it in.
We went to City Park and it was never actually believed.
And Lorraine was actually on one side. So Anne-Marie's communication once
Anne-Marie's
again.
application was not going in for
Well,
this co-option.
Yeah, thank you for letting us know. Right, Madeline. That one's coming out. Right, just to explain the current situation, because of the order we've had from Hinckley Bosworth, we've got Julie Kenny, who's our monitoring officer, in the background as we speak, looking at the legislation to see what needs to be done. So in the meantime, I'm going to propose a change to the agenda and leave the co-option till later on in the meeting when we have these response.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Show of hands, please. Right, this made a little bit more awkward now. The Neighbourhood Plan Working Party, to establish a working party to consider the update of the current neighbourhood plan with a view of making recommendations to the council to consist of 3 councillors and appropriate outside representatives. I don't think we need to be obliged to get all 3 today. We might as well wait until we've got the co-option sorted out. But could we get the ball rolling? David is originally
Yeah, I mean, it would be useful if the previous group, which was led by Tony Lockley, if there's any of those that are willing to come back onto the group and use that working group to review the neighbourhood plan.
Yeah,
I don't know whether Tony would be happy to be involved in that again. Your knowledge was very, very useful.
I did formally write to the parish clerk a very conditioned response, basically saying I might be interested, but I would really like to sit down with the planning consultant that we worked very closely with. It was vital last time when we did it, because there could be little work to do, or there could be one heck of a lot of work to do, depending on how much it has to be rewritten. What changes happen in central government planning legislation, and what the position with Hinckley and Bosworth's 5-year housing supply is. And bearing in mind the decision on the Ashby Road appeal and the implications of what's colloquially known as the tilted balance, until Hinckley and Bos have got a 5-year housing supply in the bank, and hopefully a bit more, the whole thing becomes problematic. So, as I said, that's in a very conditional email.
I'd be happy, Tony, to meet our planning consultant with yourself to have a look at that.
Well, and anyone else that might be
and
interested in
anybody
joining
else
the
that
group.
Yeah, I can't remember names, but there's been a few people registered their interest who was in the original group. So you'll see a few familiar faces.
I mean, if you're happy, Chairman, and Tony's happy to go ahead with that as a way forward, because it's important we get the neighbourhood plan refreshed.
Yeah, I think that Colin's already agreed his availability, hasn't he? I think I told you that already. So yeah, should we go with that?
Absolutely, yeah. If you're all happy with that, Chairman, I'll
yeah, because
is that proposal that Councillor Spracer is to Lockwood start discussions?
Yeah.
Sorry, just quickly if I can, Chair, just to answer some of your questions. You're probably aware that there is a white paper on planning going through government.
Indeed.
Okay, it's a little bit further down the road, so it's not going to change anything today, tomorrow or next week, but the indications are that there's going to be additional weight given to neighbourhood development plans, And from a Borough Council point of view, potentially there might be the removal of the requirement for a 5-year housing land supply, which would help the borough out greatly. So it probably is a good time to make sure you've got an up-to-date neighbourhood plan in place.
The last appeal decision said we were just short, but that calculation will be redone again next month.
There are, as I don't have to tell you guys, but there are big issues about overspill housing from Leicester, or housing that Leicester is unable to accommodate, and how that would be dispersed around the county. So and this is all linked into obviously the evolving local plan, which is still some distance away. So there are a lot of high-level issues that need to be viewed concurrently, in my mind.
Can I suggest that Councillor Sprayson makes contact with Lorraine when she's back to find out about the other interested parties that you mentioned, and then comes back to council
she's been forwarded
and makes contact as regards and then reports back to council at the next meeting as to
Mr. Chairman, to put back onto the next agenda as well, to get a number of council.
Mr. Chairman, can I just very quickly, through yourself, I'm a retired, non-retired commercial property lawyer. I'd very much like to have a word and a chat with you, Tony, because thinking about this, but I have reservations, but I would love to talk to you. Can you give me your phone number in this meeting?
I'll pop it over.
Brilliant. That's all I can do.
I'm happy to have a chat with you.
Yes, I need background.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
That's fine, so Councillor Sprayson can take that forward.
Right, so the same conversation about Jubilee Playing Fields Committee. Appoint 2 members until May. Unfortunately, that committee meets on a Thursday night and I'm not available. But considering the next meeting's 2 weeks away, we could put it onto the next agenda.
I think, when's their next meeting, Chair?
I don't know when the JPM.
I'm only over the road from the moment, so happy to do on it.
I'll second that.
Just Councillor Sprayson at this point.
At this time.
Yeah, I think we need to offer the opportunity to the new members when we get that.
we need to give the others.
Right, so item number 9, the budget. Consider the budget and precept for 23-24, appendix 2.
From my point of view, this is primarily why we agreed to be co-opted on, to allow the council to fulfil its requirement to set a precept and exist on a day-to-day basis. And on that basis, I'm satisfied with the budget we've had presented to us enables the council to do that. So I'm very happy to move that that's accepted.
I'll second that.
I'll second that.
Just for the benefit of the minutes, and if that's
the budget's moved,
the precept would then be £157,732, which would be an increase of £8.72 a year for a Band D property, or 87 pence for 10 months.
Just as a note, Chair, it must have been nice if we could have had a comparison for previous years, but at the end of the day, we need to set a precept in the budget.
It's, they're not really comparable. Previous budgets didn't include the community centre, which was being run by a charity before this year, before this budget. So significantly different to previous years.
I say, it was just to know what we're essentially looking at this blind, Chair.
Appreciate that, but in the absence of the clerk as well. So it has been proposed and seconded.
Yes, I'll second that.
So just all those in favour?
So what percentage is that? Or what percentage is precept? Or
Don't
point, it's 10 point something, I think it's 10.7%.
10.2.
10.2.
It's less than a cup of coffee, yeah.
Because how much did you say band D was, darling?
£8.72 per year.
That's on the band D.
That's the increase.
Yeah.
Okay. To come back to item 6 then.
Well, yeah.
Julie, well, I've had a text from Julie to say, she suggests that John gives her a call, but in a nutshell, she says that we can't resign. We don't have to record it, the usual criteria to be a councillor, and we're here until the elections. That's what, and she did suggest John give her a ring. So we might want to adjourn now until that happens.
I'm not sure that she can tell me anything different, but she's already told you.
You're here to amaze, yeah.
Sorry?
You're here to amaze.
But as she said, you're allowed to go home.
No, we
I've got a head in my box. Do you think we're ready to move now? Okay, are you proposing, are you happy to adjourn for another
Yes,
moment?
yes.
Yeah, just move the phone.
Article 7 is 4 now, isn't it?
193.
I suppose it's written and it's been approved, and that's because it's one of their things was its membership, and then
Parish Council has to set
logic should prevail.
Also Chairman Welsh, and it's very rare again.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Right, having had confirmation from the monitoring officer, we're going to proceed with co-opting the 5 active applications. Right, I propose...
Can we just remind who are the 5 active nominations, please?
Right, so we've got Mr Norris. And Miss Burrows. Mr Taylor. Mr Singh. Miss Harris.
Mrs.
Sorry, Mrs. It's been a long night, my apologies.
So those are 5 nominations at the moment. So it's 5 nominations for 5 seats. So in this case you can take those all as a block.
Yeah.
Right.
Move on, Chair.
Second.
You show hands.
Okay. So in that case all 5 are co-opted. Those who are present can see me at the end of the meeting to sign the paperwork.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, please, yeah.
Yep. So item number 10, date next meeting, 14th of March.
Thank you, Chairman.
See you in March.